country is one of those things. It's like another thing. It's kind of universal as well. A lot of people will say they don't listen to country, but then you put some on and they're singing that right along with you.
Lil Nas X was my gateway into country. Remember that song?
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Who doesn't? If you say you don't know that song, you're lying. Like,
dude, that was
you're
lying. All right, guys. Got Chris Massey here today. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Had to pull up.
Yes, sir. How you liking Vegas?
I love Vegas, man.
Yeah?
I always loved Vegas.
You a big gambler, huh?
I'm not a big gambler, but like when I come to Vegas, I like to gamble.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is like Vegas is expensive as hell. If you want to go get a cheeseburger, it's like $25.
For real.
So I'm like, I might as well put that $25 on the craps table. You know, that's how I look at it.
Craps is the most fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
You get on a good crap streak, it's invigorating.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to learn baccarat though.
That's the best odds.
Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like.
All the math nerds and Asian people, you'll see them.
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh no, I see it all the time, and I'm always kind of like, I'm always scared because I don't know. I gotta know it really. Like craps is really easy for me. It's like pick a number and you're there.
Yeah. Craps is easy, but it's pretty bad odds compared to baccarat. Especially if you're betting like 9 and like all the numbers and stuff. But yeah, baccarat's the game, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn it.
I'm gonna
learn it. I'm gonna take some.
You gamble out in Florida where you're at?
No, I'm in LA. And,
you're in LA.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So neither one of those. Well, LA has casinos, but they don't have like the games that I like to play. Yeah. California doesn't have dice.
Oh, really?
No. So like, matter of fact, me and my boy Malcolm, Griffin, we went to the Commerce Casino or something, and they had a craps, but it was cards. And I was like, what is happening right now? It was like a real craps table, but there's like a dealer that just flips over cards.
What?
And I was like, this is like the most cheating way of playing craps ever. Like I'm done. I went there one time and I was like, I'm good on this.
That sounds so rigged.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty bad.
Damn, craps or cards. That's not even fun because the fun of the game
fun of the game is throwing the dice. Exactly.
Because when you throw it, you feel like you have some control.
Yeah.
Even though you probably don't.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, people have techniques about hitting the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all in your head, man. But what else you been up to? You been acting?
Yeah, man. I've been acting. Just did BMF episode 307. Make sure you guys go check it out. Yeah, that was fun. I got to play a gangster.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I've never seen you in that type of role.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, I've done it before. There was a show called The Quad. It was on BET years ago. I did an episode there where I kind of did something like that. But this was like my... This one was really fun. I liked it because BMF is a really good show. It's 50 Cent show, obviously. Yeah. But it was really cool chance to like film that one. Yeah. Because I'm actually a big fan of the show as well.
I love it, man. 50's been crushing it.
Dude, he's killing it right now.
Who would have thought you could transition from music to that and just kill it?
Man, but it's funny because I tell people a lot of times, like, I think, honestly, truthfully, most of the rappers that did transition are all very successful. Even starting back with like Ice Cube, right? Like Tupac, right? You know what I mean? Like it kind of goes back to a very, I don't know. It's a lot of people say that, but the formula has worked.
It's worked. Lil Dicky.
Yeah. Lil Dicky with this show.
Yeah. I mean, he's not even making music anymore. He's just.
Yeah, and he was really good too. I always liked his music.
I miss him, dude.
Yeah, I always liked his music.
Have you seen his freestyles?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bars.
Oh yeah, he's always been talented. I mean, I always say like most of the white rappers, like when they can get all the audiences, like you win. Yeah. Like when everyone messes with you across the board, you're in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're locked in for sure. Like Lil Dicky's one of those.
He's one of those. Mac Miller was one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mac Miller for sure.
Eminem. Who else was white and killing it?
I think even
G-Eazy.
Well, yeah, G-Eazy, but I got to shout out to my boy, who, he's not as famous as everyone else, but he's one of my favorite rappers of all time, and he's Capo. Capo. I'm gonna send you his music. You got to check it out. He's from like Dothan, Alabama. He's like country, but he's got like the sauce and the swag. Yeah. He's like, bro, he's so hard, bro. He's like one of my favorite rappers.
Well, dude, there's like rap country songs now. Have you seen this? With Migos.
Yeah.
It actually sounds good.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, country is one of those things. It's like another thing. It's kind of universal as well. Yeah. A lot of people will say they don't listen to country, but then you put some on and they're singing that right along with you.
100%. Yeah. Lil Nas X was my gateway into country.
Really?
Remember that song?
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Who doesn't? If you say you don't know that song, you're lying. Like,
Dude, that
you're
was a
lying.
banger. Oh my gosh. I used to hate country, but that song was way too catchy.
Oh yeah, it was a hit. It was definitely a hit.
I'm not big on like old, like actual country though, I'd say.
Okay. I mean,
like, do you listen to country or like?
Like, do I put it on my own? No. But do I like listen to it? Like, I'm very cultured in a way where I listen to a lot of music, man.
Right.
Like, and it was, I think it was also kind of like growing up on my show. Like Sean Flynn, who played Chase on my show, he introduced me to a lot of music that I would never have listened to in my life, and I became a fan of it. Like there's one group, I always talk about this. There's a group that was called Sigur Rós. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. And it's crazy. They're like Icelandic, like they're from like Iceland, and they don't sing like melody songs. It's like just sounds.
What?
It's like weird.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, it's like ambient like sounds. Like this guy, he makes like these very high pitched notes and like noises, but it's like not like, you know, the regular formula, if you would, of music. But it's really good though. Like I used to like listen to it on the plane to like go to sleep and shit. It's like weird. But like, you know, I was always like introduced to new music as a kid. So like my palette for songs is kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
Like people get in my car and they're like, bro, we listen to a trap song, a Frank Sinatra song, a Whitney Houston song, a Lil Wayne song. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, my brain's kind of like that.
So you just appreciate music. Like, you just find the beauty in every genre.
Yeah. Like my kids, when they're in the car with me, they're listening to like James Brown, like Ray Charles, like Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men. Like I kind of switch it up a lot. Like I don't, especially for my kids, like they don't listen to like any rap music.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think the programming with rap.
Oh yeah. Like they don't listen. I mean, it's just gotten like so crazily out of hand.
Yeah. With the drugs and violence.
Yeah. You know, and for me, what I do is I let them hear good music, because I want them to understand quality music, so that way when they do hear other stuff, it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's how I grew up. You know, like when I grew up, we would go on like trips and stuff with my mom and my dad, and like my mom would have like all the Boyz II Men stuff, the Whitney Houston, and you know, Tony Braxton, all this kind of stuff. Like that's kind of what I grew up listening to. You know,
I feel that. Did you feel like you had to grow up quick because you were working at a young age?
Yes and no. I think we grew up quick in a way that we learned how to communicate with people and adults a lot better than most people.
Yeah.
But I don't think we grew up quick in a negative sense, just due to the fact that like my dad, both of my parents kept me and my brother very grounded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, we would be in LA, we would do our shows, we would do all these appearances and all this kind of stuff. And then when we were done, my dad would be like, all right, are we filming? We're done filming. You're done filming? Okay, cool. We're going back to Atlanta. And when we would go back home, we were kids again. So we would be cutting the grass and cleaning the pool and doing chores around the house. And like, he took us out of that mode of like, you know, because it's an interesting world when you're growing up as like a child actor and child star, because you do have the power to, you know, demand pretty much anything at any point from adults, right? Like you can be like, hey, can you go get me a bag of chips and water, and hey, I want to order a pizza. Can you give me a pizza? Like you can do that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, because of the fact that like you're the star of the show, this person is here to basically fulfill whatever it is you need or want while you're on set. And my parents did a really great job of saying like, hey, listen, you know, even when you're on set and we're asking for these things, we still had to be respectful. We still had to be like, hey, oh, thank you so much. Or like, oh, could you please, you know, go get this for me? It wasn't like, go get me a sandwich. You know what I mean? And I've seen it. You know, I've seen it with other people in that,
I'm sure you
have,
era, for
who
sure.
were just like kind of abuse that power. But for us, you know, my mom and dad would check us really quick, like, and especially if it was something we could go get, my dad would be like, no, you go get it. It's right there. Like, what the fuck,
love it.
what the fuck are we talking about? Go over there and go grab it. You know, but if it was like, if you're on set and you can't, you know, they're like, we need you to stay here, I could be like, hey, could you please go grab my water for me? Thank you so much. You know, so it was pulling us out of it kind of kept us to where we understood there's a big difference in, you know, when you're on set and when you're not.
Right.
Because my dad always said, like, look, when you're on your shows and you're on your set, I got it. You're working. But when you leave there, you're my son. You know what I mean? That's your mom. So cut that, you know, basically. Like, that stays on set.
That's important, man. I feel like a lot of child stars did not have that.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot. Yeah, a lot. Now, there were some that were really good as well. You know, like, we grew up with a lot of them. So it's like, we got a chance to see who was who and who wasn't. But I definitely feel like the ones who did kind of have that kind of kept a little bit of the longevity in it.
Absolutely. Because a lot of them just can't recover, right?
No, and it's sad, you know, because, and a lot of times, I mean, we would see and we would know who the ones that were going to be that.
Oh, you knew in advance?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
like,
wow.
You could tell because you're like, all right, this is going to burn out real quick. I mean, because, you know, you're just, you know, a lot of people were bigger than who they actually were.
Ego.
In their ego, yeah.
Yeah, that ruins a lot of different things, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in this business, you can't have it for multiple reasons, right? I mean, and I think it's like that with anything, any business whatsoever, but there's always tables that are turning, right? And I've seen it happen where there's this person who's here, he's huge, and this person's here, and this person talking down on this person, on this guy, and now this guy is up there where the ceiling is, and now you're here, and you're like, oh, I remember, oh, that's my boy, and he's like, nah, you on me, like, you're not my boy, like, you know, and I think that's another cool thing with us is like, you know, we always root for all of our people that we grew up with and we were around in our era, and when we all see each other, it's always love.
Yeah.
You know, like, you might not see them every day, you might not talk to them on the phone every day, but when we run into each other in passing, it's just like, oh my God, and hugs and kisses. And
you share that bond, right?
Yeah, you share that bond of like, man, we grew up in, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of cool. So, like, for me, it's fun because, you know, I'll be somewhere and I'll see, like, you know, Miley on a billboard or I'll see, like, some of my castmates in a new movie or something, and I'm like, oh, look.
That's awesome, yeah.
You know, and it's fun. You know, it's always fun and it's always love.
I love that. Do you think having your brother throughout the process really helped you too?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think it was really cool because my brother and I were like, we also have a kind of a cool record where we're both the only siblings to be nominated for a daytime Emmy on 2 different shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we both were nominated for Emmys at the time. He was nominated for That's So Raven, or his show was nominated, and my show, Zoey, was nominated. Yeah. So we were both in the, because most siblings back in our era were on the same shows, right? You get like Tia and Tamara were on Sister Sister, and you get like Dylan and Cole, they're on Sweet Life.
Right.
You know, everyone, but we were the only 2 that were like
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, separate shows, separate networks.
Separate networks too.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That is a random thing, but I can't even think of siblings on different shows right now. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's you know, it was a really cool experience because we learned that actually while we were there. At the daytime Emmys, we were doing interviews and they were like, "Do you guys know that you guys are the first?" We're like, "No, we didn't know that." Well, that's kind of cool, you know. So
did you know Zoey was going to take off right away?
No, I didn't. It's actually funny. I was talking about this recently. I was actually on the set of my brother's show, of That's So Raven, and I used to. That was like my most fun memories of all time when I was a kid, because That's So Raven was like really like a family atmosphere or whatever. It's like everyone knew each other for years and stuff. So I was on the set. I had auditioned for it one day, and I was on set playing basketball or something, and my mom, she came down the hallway and she's like, "You booked that show that you auditioned for?" And I'm like, "Really? Oh, okay." Like, you know, and originally I actually auditioned for Chase.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, so I auditioned for Chase, and then I guess they kind of like created this Michael character for me or whatever, and I think I had a guest starring role technically on the pilot, and then I guess after they, you know, tested it, when they got picked up, they were like, "All right, you're a series regular."
Wow.
So that was fun. And, you know, when we first filmed it, it was a really cool experience for me because I did a lot of different shows when I was younger as well, like just guest starring roles. Like I did The Parkers, I've done Yes Dear, which was another show that was back then, and the District and like The Practice. Like it was like a bunch of different little things when we were kids. We just kind of do different shows here and there, you know. Like Everybody Hates Chris, shit like that.
That was a classic.
Yeah, so that was my first role where I had like a full-time, you know, gig. So for me, it was really fun, but the real cool experience was we were fully on location. So, you know, most of the shows, especially the kid shows at the time, were all on a soundstage. So like my brother's show, That's So Raven, Corey in the House, Sweet Life, Hannah Montana, all that were on sound stages. So we were completely on location. We filmed in Malibu. You know, we got the beach.
Yeah, that campus was beautiful.
Yeah, like, right? We're at Pepperdine. We got like the full campus. And so that was the really cool part. But when I realized it took off was the second year when we went back to film the second season at Pepperdine. Because we filmed in the summer. So there were a lot of camps and stuff like that where people would send their kids for the summer camps.
Yeah.
So those kids were our demographic. So that's when it got like hectic, you know. Like, there would be like, you know, fans trying to come up and see the cast, and we would go to have lunch, and where we used to eat lunch at the cafeteria used to be like super quiet, and now there's like screaming girls there.
Damn.
And, like, yeah, so it got like, it was like a full like turnaround from the first season to the second season, and that was when I like realized like, okay, this thing is pretty big.
Dude, every kid watched that show growing up. Damn.
Yeah.
3 seasons, right?
No, we did 5.
Oh, 5.
Yeah, so I think on paper it might be 4, but yeah, I think one season was like 20 something episodes. So the first 2 seasons were 13 episodes.
Got it.
And then the third season also was like 13, and then the 4th season was like 23 episodes. So they kind of like stretched it.
Got it. And the movie too, right?
Yeah, and then the movie as well.
Got it.
Yeah, so
were the opportunities crazy after that show? Were people just knocking at your door left and right?
Yeah, and yes and no. So like there's like a really a fine line when you're a child actor, right? So there's like the moment you're done, like, so for instance, for my show, we were done when I think I was about to turn 18. I think we like ended on like the end of 2007. And then like 18 is when like my birthday's in January. So maybe a few months later I was 18. So, you know, from 13 years old is when I started to like 17, turning on 18. It's like now you're in that transitional stage, right? So you're getting your money, you're finding yourself, right? You're like dating girls and you're doing like, now you want to be like outside with your friends and have fun. So there were a lot of opportunities that were kind of like presented, but there was also like this other side where you're just like, I kind of want to just like hang out and like kind of like, you know, because you got to understand, for what, I guess all of my high school and like into middle school, all those years I was on set.
Right.
You know, so it's like, and then when you're not on set, you're still constantly auditioning, and you're doing this award show, and you're presenting this award here, and you're going to all these like different things and functions. And so it's like, it was constant. It was never just when you're on set. Every day is something, right? So like we used to do autograph signings. That was like back in the days.
Yeah, back in the day.
It would be like,
cared about autographs.
Yeah, right, exactly, right? Like we used to sit, and I'll never forget it. It would be like, you know, we would do like, there was a thing called the Ronald McDonald Foundation with McDonald's, and we would have the whole entire Universal backlot, and they would just have every single kid that was on a TV show would be there.
Wow.
And we would sign autographs for like basically all day.
Your hand would be falling off.
Yeah, like, you know, literally stacks of like headshots, and we were just like, you know, we're sitting next to each other like, is your arm tired? Like, my shit's done. Like, you know, but those used to be some really, really fun times, man. Like I think that the culture of film and television kind of has obviously swayed away from that, right? Like, I mean, most shows don't even do 20 episodes anymore.
It's like 5 to 10.
Yeah, like most shows now, you're like getting a good like 5 to 8, honestly.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. But even the top ones, 10 might be max a season. So I think we kind of were the end of like that golden era of like television where, you know, people come up to me all the time and they're like, man, you're my childhood, man. Like, you were my childhood. And I'm like, that's a really cool, warm thing to like hear. But it kind of sucks because like my kids, they don't have like shows like that. You know?
Yeah.
My oldest is 9, and like I took her to the Kids' Choice Awards last year, and I was like, she's gonna be so excited. She's gonna get to see her favorite, people or whatever. And she was like, all she wanted to meet were influencers. That was it. Like not one, I think there was 1 or 2 girls that were like on a show. I think like Henry Danger or something that she wanted to see. But like everyone else was like influencers.
Crazy. Times have changed, man. Cartoon Network just went under.
Really?
Did you see that? Yeah,
No,
like
I didn't.
a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So I wonder how these networks are going to adapt because now people watch stuff on Netflix and Hulu and stuff.
Yeah, man. I think it's good, but I also think that what I truly believe is they need to bring back sitcoms, right? Like, I think that all of your streaming platforms, they're going with the fact that they're trying to change kind of the landscape of film and television. But I really do believe that sitcoms were like something that people looked forward to. Like, you know, and obviously maybe the format can change up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think people, like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great shows that people watch and they love to watch them, but something about that sitcom and that live audience that just did something, right? Like, because when my brother's show, for instance, That's a Raven, they filmed in front of a live audience. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that was like...
So those laughs were real?
All real, yeah.
What?
Man.
I thought they just edited those in.
No, man, that was all real.
No way.
And it was the most fun experience. And I think that was why, as a kid, I really enjoyed being on that set. Because my show filmed like most shows film now, right? You're just on set, you're filming, you go home. But on my brother's show, they would do a table read on Monday. So they would go out and they would have... you would get there early on Monday. All the cast, whoever's the guest stars, would be there. We would all sit in a big room, big table. The producers, the writers, the cast, the director, they all sit there and they would read the episodes fully through the entire episode. So they go from start to finish with everyone reading their roles, right? So then Tuesday comes around, they block. They just say like, okay, you're gonna come in through here. They go on the set and they kind of block through the shots. Wednesday they do the same thing, rehearse. Thursday they film, and then on Friday they bring in a live audience. So on Fridays that was my most fun because I used to love just being a part of it because it was such a unique experience where, you know, your favorite TV show, you could go sit in the audience and watch them film it, right? So, you know, you got people that are like super craze fans, all this, they're in there, they get a chance to like be right in front of you. And it's like a play, almost, right? And for me, I felt like that was like a very warm part of television that has been like kind of taken out of the equation, right? And I feel like with Netflix and Hulu, you guys it's still big enough to where a great sitcom will still work. You know what I mean? Where you could have people come in, sit in the live audience and watch it because some of the funniest moments happen while you were on set watching them film. You know, because as a director or as the producers, they would go off the laughs, right? So you might have wrote something that was funny and let's say Raven did this joke 4 times and people laughed, but they didn't really laugh. Now Raven does something that no one wrote down and the entire audience goes crazy. They're laughing, they're falling out their seats, and then the director goes, we're using that.
I love that. So it's kind of improv.
Oh yeah, a lot of it was improv.
Wow.
Oh yeah, a lot of it was improv for sure. Like, and a lot of the great shows that we watched back in the day, some of the funniest moments were improv that they kept because of the fact that you wrote something down, it was funny, but what this person did was a little bit funnier, and it was a unanimous decision. You couldn't go in there and go, read it how it's on the paper. Because guess what? This person just trumped what you wrote on that paper.
Yeah.
Because now everyone is screaming, laughing. They're like, and then now the director might go, hey, do that again. Try it one more time. Do it one more time. Just like that. She does it again or he does it again, and it's funny, and everyone laughs again, and they're like, all right, we're keeping that. Scratch what we had at first. We'll just keep that. It's going to be a part of it.
Facts.
So I think it also helped with the creativity of television.
Yeah.
Right? Because now everything is so by the book. Everything is so scripted to the point where it's like, stick to the script. Because guess what? You don't have that backing of the audience. You don't have that backing of like a raw moment where no one was expecting it and everyone died laughing.
Right.
And you were forced to put it in there, you know, because that was a really cool thing too. And I think that's why even with me, like when I did BMF, I improv'd a few times in there. And, you know, a couple of the actors who were there were kind of like, damn, you're just saying whatever you want to say. And I'm like, but I came from that era where it's like, look, all right, this is cool, but like, this is how I would have did it, or this is how I feel like it should be said. And, you know, and one of the cool things about that is when you watch the show and you sit back and go, all right, okay, you watch it for the first time, you go, let me see what they kept and what they didn't keep, you know? Right. And then you watch it and you go, okay, I created that line. That line didn't exist. I said that on my own. And then you realize like, okay, you know, that's what, to me, is really truly the art of film and television.
Absolutely.
Is being able to express kind of your feeling of how you would want this to be interpreted. You know, like I watched a thing the other day about Denzel's line in Training Day. The King Kong ain't got on me. And their director, Antoine Fuqua, says that was completely unscripted.
No way.
It wasn't in the script.
Wow.
Right? And those are those things where it's like when you come from that side of the film and television side, you understand like those are the best moments. Because you can't, you know, who would have thought that while they just had the cameras rolling, he just said this? You know what I mean? And not only him just saying it, but that being the most iconic line of the entire movie. Right?
Yeah, you can't write that.
You can't write that. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the things that I pride myself on, is like just trying to be a little bit different. Like obviously, you know, you stick to the script as much as you can, and like, you know, and also knowing when to back off. Right? That's what a lot of people don't have. Is like knowing like, okay, you're trying this and it's not working, like leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's another skill that a lot of people need to adopt, is like, okay, look, you can try it out, but if it's not working the way it should work, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Go back to what it, you know, what's on paper, and you know, and like I just try to give it kind of a variety of things sometimes when I'm in there.
Absolutely. I love that. Seems more natural too. It's like,
oh yeah,
you could tell more natural. It's from the heart. Definitely. Why do you think studios stopped going away from live audiences?
I don't know. I think it may be a mixture of a lot of things. Probably liability, maybe.
People are getting riled up.
Well, no, I mean, like, we never had any bad instances on our sets or anything like that. But, I mean, I think that nowadays, like, for some reason, I feel like people are a lot more afraid of people.
Maybe COVID did it?
COVID is one thing. But just, I don't know. I mean, maybe, like, all these, like, school shootings and kind of, like, security risks and stuff as well. But, like, I'm not sure what it is. But that feeling, man, was like, it was something about it that was just amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
It sounds incredible.
I mean, because even if you think back to the old days, like I Love Lucy, it was the same thing. Right? That was black and white television, but it was still a live audience who were sitting there watching this person act out these things, and they're dying laughing in the audience. And it also created kind of like this security in the fact that like, oh, this is funny. Right? Like when you hear the laugh track go off, you get your laugh kind of out of it almost, right? You're like,
no, it makes you laugh.
It makes you laugh, like, right? Because or sometimes even me as a kid, like I remember not knowing sometimes you'll hear a joke that you probably didn't get, like kind of went over your head, but you see everyone else dying laughing, so you're like, I guess that's funny. Right? You're like, I guess that's funny. Like, why is that funny again? Yeah. You know? So it's like it kind of teaches you like what's what, and like, I don't know. I don't know why they did it, but I think truthfully, if they brought it back, I think it would create such a cool nostalgic moment for people.
I agree.
Because even towards the end of a lot of shows, a lot of sitcoms, they were starting to use the laugh track. So you weren't wrong on the fact that like, oh, I thought they just put that in there. But it was only towards the end of like the sitcom era when they went away from live audiences.
Yeah. Something special about, they might be worried about just social media leaks, like with phones.
That part too.
Because when I went to the Kevin Hart show, they made us lock our phones.
Yeah, they do that a lot in stand-up though.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, well, because they have to, because for one, a lot of comedians, you know, they work on their material in a lot of different places. So, you know, one person leaks it and it's like, I heard that joke already. You know, that's kind of why. It's like,
that makes sense.
You know, because when they're going to city to city to city, they're saying the same jokes.
Right.
And you're a new audience, so you're like, oh my God, this is hilarious. But he said it in Houston, Atlanta, LA, you know, so when it leaks, if it leaks on the internet and everyone watches the whole thing, it's like, all right, we've seen your set now.
Yeah.
Now you got to switch it up.
I feel that. Yeah. Would you ever do stand-up?
Oh, I do it.
Oh, you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. I do stand-up. I work a few places. There used to be a place on Sunset that I used to do, Sunset Rooftop with my boy Cameron Torrey. That's Joe Torrey's son. He's a great up-and-coming comedian as well. And then I also work out of Uptown Comedy in Atlanta.
Okay.
So, yeah, my boy Daryl Quick down there, he always calls me up. He's like, hey, man, what you doing, man? I'm like, I'm chilling. What's up? Bring your ass down here, man. Come on, get on stage.
Oh, so you nice.
Yeah, because he actually, like, I went to do one where I was like, kind of like, you know what, I want to try it out. Because people always tell me, like, bro, you're funny as hell, bro. You need to do stand-up. Yeah. So I went up there and did it. And I purposely went up without any material.
Wow.
Right? So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go up here. I'm just going to talk and I'm just going to, like, just be myself and see if that will get laughs.
Yeah.
Because I think the main thing that I incorporated into my stand-up is we learned a lot of things when we were young. One being know your audience, right? So I've always remembered that as a kid, and I kind of put myself in a position where I'm like, okay, well, look, if I go up here, like I'll literally sit in the back and just watch everyone. I'm looking at this guy, this lady, how she's drinking her drink, how many drinks this person ordered, how much food this person ordered, all this and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna talk about this guy. I'm gonna ask this lady a question. She looks interesting, right? And what I'll do is I'll go up and I'll go off of that, right? And then I may have a few things in my head, talk about, right? Or like maybe like something about the city or something like that. But that was how I started. So now I'm gotten a little bit more seasoned where I'm like, okay, now I'm writing material because Daryl, the guy I'm talking about in Atlanta, he runs that club there.
Yeah.
And he basically was like, yo, man, like, he was like, you're naturally funny. But in order to take it to the next level, you got to write some jokes. So I'm like, all right, cool. So now that's what I like really pride myself now on is writing the jokes, setting up the punchlines, dropping them. And then when you first get that feeling of like starting it off, then you get to the middle, then you get to the laugh, and it's like, it works, then it's like, all right, this shit's kind of addicting.
I love that.
Right? You know, it's kind of fun because it's a really hard thing to do to make people laugh. And especially different audiences.
Oh.
Right? So for me, what I learned, like I said, knowing your audience is I've watched some comedians have a bad situation, right? Or a heckler, you know, something, or like the audience starts booing them. I've never been booed.
Nice, knock on wood for sure.
But I've learned, and that it's about knowing your audience. And some people will have set jokes ready to go, right? But they won't look out and see who their audience is. And that's where you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Because essentially it's like being, you know, a quarterback and not reading a defense.
Right.
Right? You're going to get blitzed, right? Like, and that's what it is. So like some guys will come out and like, oh man, I got this I've been working on. It's gonna be funny. I'm talking about, single moms. I'm joking, cracking on single moms. Yeah. Guess what? Audience is 90% single mom, right? And then you're saying jokes and they're like, not funny. Yeah. now you got someone in the back screaming at you, and you're like, oh, I thought this was gonna work. Or you're making like a bad race joke or something, or you're talking about a certain group of people, and you're not looking at who's in the audience. So for me, I've always stayed kind of away from mostly racial. I don't do like racial. I don't do too many.
There's someone getting canceled for that right now.
Yeah,
Andrew Schultz. Yeah.
Yeah, but exactly right. So some people, and don't get me wrong, right? I do feel like comedians and a lot of comics do feel as though comedy should be a raw expression where you should be able to express yourself in any way. Yeah. But it's also the environment that we're in. Things change, right? That's why you got, a lot of comedians that had specials that came out in the 80s had to come out and apologize. Like, hey man, like, I didn't mean what I said back then. Like, you know what I mean? It's changed now. Like,
certain words you can't use.
Yeah, certain words you can't use. So it's like, just like I said, knowing your audience, knowing that times are changing. You can say whatever you want, but there's consequences and repercussions for everything. So, when people are like, oh, there's freedom of speech. Well, yeah, there's always freedom of speech. Your mouth can open up and say whatever the you wanted to say. But if I were you, I would make sure it was something that's not going to get you canceled or have someone looking at you in a way where they're like, yo, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah. The old tweets thing, I mean, because certain words were normal 10 years ago. So I'm not a fan of people getting canceled over 10-year-old tweets.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. I mean, man, it's kind of ironic that like the world that we live in now, it's like, you get, especially, who I feel the worst for though, honestly, are like the very old people, right? Like the people that are in like their 80s and like their like 90s and like I kind of feel bad for them in a sense because it's like, yo, this person can't help it, right? Like if you were 85 and something and you were racist in the 50s, like no Instagram or Twitter is gonna stop you from being racist now. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, but I do feel like it's pushing in the positive direction where nowadays you have, everyone's kind of mixing and mingling a lot more than they were back then, obviously. Right? It's like it's not the same as it was during the segregation era, or it's not the same as it was during like the Jim Crow era. So, clearly in the next 50 to 100 years, I feel like the word racism will not be around.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think so because, it's too many black kids with a white mom and there's too many white kids with a black dad. Or
by then everyone will be mixed, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's my mom's Asian, my dad's white, or my mom, like it's way too much to, to go backwards. Right. Right? Like I think, back in the day, I mean, you had people who hated the Vietnamese just because we went to war with Vietnam. Right. Like they never met a Vietnamese person. They were just like those goddamn Viet Cong, right? Like they didn't know. They just know what they saw in the media, right? And I think that nowadays we live in an era where people question the media and people combat the media, and they go, "What the fuck? That shit doesn't make any sense, right?" But back then it was like if it was on TV, they were like, well, it's on 60 Minutes. It's got to be true. But now I think people are going to go fact check things, and they're going to go, they're going to, you got social media. And those guys who are like digging up everything, like, no, that's not true. So
the fact checkers.
Yeah, the fact checkers, man. Like, it's a different time that we live in, and I think it's going in a better direction than where we ever came from.
I'm a fan of it. Have you been canceled yet?
No, not yet.
Well done.
Yeah, right. I hope never to be canceled, but like, I think it's all about just like steering clear of a lot of that's going on, man. Like, and sometimes, like me and my brother were just talking about this. We were very fortunate to have training at a very young age, where it's like, watch what you say, watch what you do, watch who you hang around, right? And I think what's going on right now is there's a lot of people that are getting a lot of money, a lot of influence, but they're not getting a lot of knowledge on how to maintain it, how to keep it, right? So, there's a big difference in talking with your boys when you're saying whatever you're saying in the comfort of your own home. There's a big difference when you're a streamer and you have cameras, on, and you're in your room and you're talking with your boys and you're saying that probably is not good for your stream.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what's happening a lot too, is people are filming so much to the point where there's no real on and off switch. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, for you, right, let's say even in your situation, you come here, you set your stuff up, you sit down, you turn it on, right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference in, like, I see, like, a lot of these influencers are like, I'm going to stream for 20 hours straight. Like, bro, you don't think you're going to slip up once in there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think you're going to, like, do something that's someone's going to be like, hey, yo, like, what was that? So it's like, sometimes I think it's just best to, like, some people to, like, take it in spurts, like, do what you got to do, get off of it, go back to reality. Do your stream, do this, do whatever, but kind of give yourself time to, like, acclimate and go, okay, well, cool, like, that's done. Now I'm back over here. I think the cameras in everyone's faces kind of, like, it increases the chances of you slipping up.
100%. There's streamers that do 24-hour streams.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on. Like, there's people who do that, and then they're like, they may smoke weed, and they're like, oh, that streaming service doesn't allow you to smoke weed. And it wasn't even them. It was just their boy that was like, oh, what's up, bro? He comes in there smoking. They're like, oh, you just got my stream shut down.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know. He just walks in like, oh, I thought we were just chilling. Like,
for real.
I didn't know you were streaming right now. Like, or
there was one where a guy walked in a public restroom and he brought the camera in there and he got banned.
Exactly. Right? It's like, so I think that's a tough little gray area for, like, what the influencers are, because now the influencers are they're influencers, but they're pretty much like celebrities
these days.
In the new days, right?
They're like what you were back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But going back to the training, it's like, but we knew how to be like, okay, look, someone puts a camera in your face, you're not gonna be talking about something crazy.
Yeah.
But a lot of these kids nowadays, they're just saying what's on their mind. They're saying, like, whatever they want to say, and then they're like, oh, you can't cancel me for that. I was just speaking what I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how you do it here,
I think the problem with streamers also is they have to constantly impress and one-up their last stunt.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I seen one where they're like, I think, what is it? It was Kai Cenat when he, like, his friend set the fireworks off in the house or something like that. And I'm like, that it was funny, but at the same time, it's like, when you're influencing younger kids, you get some kids who may not understand that there was a guy with a fire extinguisher on set,
right?
Or there was a guy who was there to make sure this place didn't burn down, right? And then you're gonna get the next kid who's gonna go do that at his mom's house, and he's gonna burn that down,
Fact.
And then they're gonna be like, and then guess what? It's gonna flow back somehow, some way to you, right? So I think that the responsibility of a lot of them should just be like, look, even just throw a disclaimer up.
Yeah.
Hey, everything you're seeing right here is not, this is. Because a lot of people believe a lot of things that they see now.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to differentiate what's real and what's, like, something for the entertainment of my stream or of my,
100%.
channel.
Did you see iShowSpeed jumping over the moving car?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But kids are going to think they could do that.
Of course. Right? They're going to be in the hospital and their parents are going to be like, where did you get a dumbass idea like this? And they're going to be like, oh, I watched it last night. Like, which is, but, I commend those guys, man, because at the end of the day, they're creating something out of pure entertainment. They're, they're owning their own. They're putting it all together, just like you, man. I commend you as well for everything that you're doing, because at the end of the day, everything always changes. It always moves in a different direction, and with you guys being on the forefront of it, it gives a lot of people hope to say, hey, you know what? There's other things that I can do to make a living. There's other ways that I can, like, show my talents, and it's not, it's not always exactly like how our parents grew up, right?
Right.
Because back, let's just say 30, 40 years ago, I mean, like, if you were a 15-year-old or a 10-year-old, or like, let's say 50 years ago, if you were a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, you're getting like army brochures, you're getting, you're going to the Marine Corps, or you're going to learn, this or do this or go to school and be this. And like nowadays you got kids who are like 10, 12 years old. Like, I want to be an influencer.
Right.
I want to have a YouTube. I want to have my own podcast. I want to have, so those are really cool things that will create, a lot more influence, I believe, in the future than any other thing else.
Yeah, I agree. It's a new era for sure. I was on your Wikipedia. It said you got married in Vegas. Is that true?
I
did you do the overnight wedding?
It was like, one night. Like, just walked in there and just did it. Like,
no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. See, my previous guest did that too. I didn't know people actually did that.
Well, it's so funny, man. Like, I'm one of those people who I always wanted to do that.
Yeah?
Because I always saw like that in movies and like that, and I always thought that was so fun and like cool to do. Like, but like one day I'll probably have like a real like wedding and like really like get married, but like I just did it because it was like fun. Like,
damn.
That shit. Like,
so your wife was down. She's like, let's do it.
Yeah, do that shit.
How drunk were you guys?
Not that drunk. not that drunk. Like, I mean, we're pretty like, we were drinking, but like, not too faded. And then I remember it was, we went there, and then it's so funny because she actually said that it was later on we found out like that's where I guess
Elvis.
No, not Elvis. Travis Barker and
Kardashian, one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah. That's where they got married too. And she was all like, "That's where they got married." I'm like, "Oh shit." We went there. We did it first, but clearly we weren't the first.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah. How worried are you about AI? Because now they're saying AI is going to replace actors. They're going to license their image and likeness and then replace them.
Yeah, man. AI is trippy.
Yeah,
it's very trippy. I think. Not just actors, right? So I think AI is really insane because I've seen some in the past few weeks where it's like, even with music, right? Like, you can type in, I want to make a song about falling in love, and they will literally create a song that's like completely license free of a love song.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is going to put a lot of people out of business, not just actors or thing, but like songwriters,
right?
Music producers, script writers. They got them for scripts now, right?
There was that strike, right? The writer's strike.
The writer's strike, and that's what it's about. But I think that if, the higher ups, if we're being honest, the higher ups will do this. This is what I believe will end up happening. I believe they'll still keep a few people on payroll, right? To say, hey, look, we're going to keep a few writers here and there. We're going to keep this person here and there. But what they're going to do is they're going to start comparing things to this,
right,
and say, which script do you like better, this one or that one? And when people go, I like this one, the more people that choose the AI version is going to like up a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because now it's to the point where you don't know what's real anymore. There was an Instagram page that I followed, and it like blew my mind. I was like, I'm looking at the photos and I'm like, this girl is like perfect, right? I'm liking the picture, and then I look at it again. I'm like, is this real? So I sent it to my boy, Griffin. My boy Griffin Fields. He's always ahead of everything. He works in the industry. He tells me like all the before it's gonna happen. And he's like, yo, AI is about to do this. They're doing this with the AI and all this. I sent it to him and I said, bro, is this real? Or is this like he's like, no, bro, that's AI.
No way.
I said, you're lying. Bro, I'm talking about like beach videos, like
what?
The water running up against her. Like it's like and it looks so real to the point where I had to like look at it a few times. I'm like, I sent it to him, he goes, no, bro, that's AI.
Damn.
And I'm like, imagine that, right? Like now you're going to a space where you're gonna augment reality in real time where people are going to be like, they're never going to know what's real and what's fake anymore.
Right. Some of these actors are making millions. So what, from their point of view, I could see why they would want to replace them with AI.
Absolutely. Because guess what? Now I can license your face and pay you pennies on the dollar.
Right.
Or I mean, technically I'm not paying you, but use your face, name, image, and likeness and do the same thing.
They're saying they're going to do that with dead people, dead artists, dead actors.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I think a lot of these college guys need to be weary of the NIL deals.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we learned at a very young age, like your name and your image and your likeness is a very, 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 like, sacred commodity.
Right.
Right? And I think that everyone got blinded by the dollar to the point where they're like, oh, these guys are getting paid now. They got their NIL deals. They're all getting paid. And it's like, that's not how you want to get paid, right? Because the NIL is your name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Right? Which means, in a sense, you can really kind of, once you own that, or let's say they own it or they lease it for whatever amount of time, that means that in this realm of this new generation of AI, that person who has the rights to that name, image, and likeness can do whatever it is that they want to do with it. Because you have to look at it the same way as like you look at a song, right? Whoever owns the masters and the rights to a song can go license it to a toy company. They can go license it to, you know, a TV show. They can go license it to wherever they want to go do it because they own it, right? They own the masters. They own it. It's the same thing with your face and your name and your image.
So they could just use it in ads and everything.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
nuts.
They could, and especially when you add AI to it, you put a body, throw the face on there, go ahead.
Yep.
Pay us whatever you want.
Voice is the easy part.
Oh yeah, the voice is very easy because I mean now, you know, it's a very wicked game, right? Like that's a touchy subject because I feel like give it 5 to 10 years, you're gonna start seeing lawsuits. You're gonna start seeing these guys.
They already started the Drake songs.
Yeah, they're gonna start coming after these people like, yo, you know what? Like, you guys got my face on this. I didn't get paid for this. And they're gonna be like, oh, we don't have to talk to you. You forgot your name and your image and your likeness you signed away for $500,000?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I came to you right now and I said, look, I'll give you $1 million, but I want your name, Sean Kelly, I want your face and your likeness, which is literally your height, your ears, your glasses. I want all this to be mine for a certain amount of time. If you don't think that I'm going to be hustling like to put that everywhere that I can during that time period, then you're out of your mind.
That's wild.
You're out of your mind. And that's why in music, when you hear these people say like, oh, I want to own my masters, or oh, like I'm trying to get my masters, or oh, I own my masters. I tell people all the time, I said, you know, the record companies have that in a chokehold for a reason, right? People think that music makes money on the radio. They don't understand the real severity of like when someone owns your masters, like they can go take your song, put it in a toy, they can go put it in a movie, they can go put it anywhere they want. And guess what? When you hear a song in a movie, someone's getting paid. Right?
A lot.
There's deals to be made. Like it's not just like someone said, oh yeah, you want to use it, go ahead. No, someone's sitting down and there's someone on the phone saying, hey, we want to use it. We'll use like 15 seconds of it. How much? Those artists are never seeing that money.
Really?
Most of them are not.
Wow. Yeah, I saw Lil Wayne dealt with this, right?
Yeah, most of them are not seeing the money due to the fact that the labels, like I said, they own it, right? It's the same way with your name, image, and your likeness, right? That's the reason why Prince changed his name from Prince to the symbol, right? It was because he said, okay, he found a loophole. Okay, you guys own Prince. So now I'm going to be the artist formerly known as Prince, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Taylor Swift did this, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
She made a whole new album.
Yep.
And changed a few words.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, it's like they've been doing this because the system has been there for years. Has been before we were born. People were being screwed out of, you know, before, right? So I think more people are just being aware and hip to it. And I think social media also helps, right? Where people can go out and talk about it and it spreads like wildfire when you hear that your favorite artist is, you know, trying to find out where their money is.
Yeah, it seems like more of them are going independent, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most of them are either halfway there and a lot of times that's why they're not getting the big push that we're used to seeing from them, right? You're used to like, you know, like let's say you just said Wayne, like when Wayne used to drop, it was like everybody knew Wayne's dropping. His album's coming out. But it's like when you go independent, now you're depending on that core fan base because you get the lion's share of the money. But now you're not getting the machine behind you anymore.
Right.
Because the machine is what keeps you at the top of the charts, is what keeps you in the front of the headlines, is what keeps you, getting nominated.
Yeah.
It's like it's what keeps you in the public eye.
So you got to kind of pick your side, right?
Yeah, you pick and choose what you want to do, but I think that sometimes it's best for people to sit back and really understand the business side of it, because the business is where it's at.
Yeah.
Like there was a toy I bought my daughter one day. When she was like really little. It was like one of those rolling kind of trucks things. She like a ATV type thing. Yeah. She rolls on. She hit a button, and it played like a Bruno Mars song.
Really?
On the toy. And I remember saying, like, do you know how much money just that 24 karat song being played for like 5 seconds on this toy, how much that deal was worth, right? And when people, they think like, oh, they sold this amount of records, they sold this amount, that's all the normal fans and normal people of the world, that's all that they associate with how much money you make off of a song. They associate it off of like, oh, they sold 2 million records. That's the number that they just dangle in your face because they want to keep people, oh, you didn't sell that many records. Okay, but this song was on every movie. Song was on this soundtrack. Song was in this toy. Because you got to understand, in order for that toy company to put that song in there had to be a licensing deal. Someone had to be on the phone. Someone had to sign off. Someone had to give a number.
Yeah.
Someone had to agree to it. And then they had to go, okay, that's fine, go ahead. But meanwhile, your artist is somewhere going, I didn't see that. And that's why a lot of them are finding out about records and stuff. They're like, yo, my song is in this movie. I never got a check from that.
Crazy.
Yeah, because we did we used to do a lot of sync deals and stuff back in the day with this guy, Mason Cooper, really great man. We used to go to his studio in was it Studio City or like Valley Village, and we would go in there and we would record songs with him. And he really taught us how to put, the records into movies, TV shows, and still to this day, some days I'll get a check in the mail that'll just be like, from this film or, this movie played this amount of times. And then also David McKenzie, man, he was another person. We put songs in a few television shows and projects that we worked with together. So we were schooled by the OGs. That's good. We were kind of like, yo, this is how you do this. This is how you can, always have a little bit of flow of money. If this movie does a lot or someone watches it, you get paid.
Yeah. So is it similar in the entertainment industry where the guys making it are making a majority?
Yeah, but I think that in the entertainment industry, as far as like television and film, it's a little bit more even playing field, right? Because, we've seen a lot of artists who are very famous, right? And they're bleeding in a way of they can't get their album out, or they can't get the funding, or the label is saying, oh, we paid you for your first album and it didn't do well. But like in television and film, everything is very direct, right? So it's like, that's another reason why I kind of got out of the music side of stuff, because I kind of took a break from acting and really focused on music for a very long time. Yeah. But what I started to notice is you have a lot of artists who are very talented, who have very great songs, but they can't put it out. You're right? Like you've seen it. We've all seen it where we're like, yo, why hasn't this person dropped yet? And they're like, blame the label.
All the time.
The label won't let me drop my records. And they're like, and the artist is just as upset as we are, right? But I think the cool part about the film and television side is once you're on a television show, you know how much money you're getting paid. Like, you know how many episodes you're doing. Your only limbo is just, are we coming back for another season? Right? Like, so that's another reason why I kind of went back to it and was like, you know what?
More steady.
Let me stick with what I know and what's definitely more steady. Now, obviously, it's still a industry where you have to kind of be chosen unless you create your own films or stuff like that. Like that's what I'm working on now. So I've written like 3 or 4 scripts.
Nice.
And I'm just in the process now of like the ownership of saying, hey, look, I know all of the actors and actresses that are in the top shows right now, you know, because I grew up with all of them, right? So it's like now we're all kind of coming together where we're on conference calls like, yo, I need you and you for this movie. I want you for this show. Let's all come together. We all produce it. We all put our heads together, you know, to get a good producer, get this, because now it's like we're in an era now where you can create and you can say, okay, look, you know what? I don't have to go in and pitch this 100 times to the network. I can go straight to my guys and go, hey, yo, let's shoot this and then we'll pitch it. Yeah. You know, or put it out on our own and see what kind of traction it gets.
Because some of the networks have lost their power, right? Because people are going to streaming services.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is going from just some of the people that are higher up that are just not paying attention to what's going on. You know, I mean, it's just like with music. I mean, you got fans that are begging for a Lil Uzi album. You got fans that are begging for a Playboi Carti album, or you got fans that are begging for a new Taylor Swift album, and you have these people, these artists that are fighting battles for themselves, wanting the same thing. They want to put it out for you. Right. And they're fighting the same battles that you guys are, and most of the fans don't know. They're blaming the artists. Yeah. They're like, yo, we've been waiting for 4 years for this. And they're like, yo, it's not up to me. You know, and I think that it's I think it's unfair that a lot of them kind of they still have that mindset when realistically as a label or as any other entity, if you could sit back and go pump the out, I'm sure everyone will be happy, right? On all sides. Yep. And because a lot of times, I mean, now it's nowhere near as expensive as it used to be to roll out a project. Right? Like, I mean, you can go put a movie out and say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you and like 5 other influencers to talk about it and create a buzz. Right. You don't need billboards anymore. That spreads like wildfire. We're not paying $5 million to have a billboard on Sunset and this and that, right? Like as it used to be, right? Like I remember there was a place on Santa Monica. It was a building that had a humongous Apple advertisement for years. And the guy who ended up selling the building, he was like, the new owner wanted to keep the Apple logo there, and the guy goes, no, I'm buying another building, and that my deal with them is moving to that building. You're not getting that deal. So he's like, he just sold him the fucking building. He's like, no, you don't get the advertisement space on the outside. Like that's done. That's like, separate. Yeah, he's like, no, you can have the building though. Enjoy. Like that's crazy. But you know, so now you know you don't have those. You know, it's way easier to pay someone like Speed. I'd rather pay Speed $100K. Yeah, I'll pay you $100K to say this movie's coming out in October. That would convert so well. It will convert way faster. And then you're going to get real-time feedback, right? You're going to get like literally instant feedback where you're not having to go through, you know, days and days of, no, you're going to see people are going to be like, that looks trash, or they're going to be like, yo, I can't wait to see it. I've never bought off a billboard personally. Exactly, right? So it's like, that's the era we are in now. Yeah. I mean, people are more, I mean, you'll see an Instagram ad that might make you go, and go on Amazon before you see something on a billboard. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Chris, it's been cool, man. Where can people keep up with you and your next project? Okay, so my next project is a film that I'm working on that I'm also going to direct. I'm not going to star in it. I'm probably just going to do a little cameo in it. Okay. But it's a horror film. It's really cool. Great cast. That's my main focus right now. And you can also catch my episode of BMF, episode 307, fun little thing. But my Instagram is Chris Massey, TMB. Yeah, man. Well, it was a pleasure seeing you. It was
Blast, dude.
I gotta come back, man. Do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna ball. We'll record
and that's another thing. We're gonna hoop.
We're gonna hoop. Let's do it, brother.
Definitely make it happen, bro.
Oh yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. As always. See you next time.
Yes, sir.